Welcome to a wild ride. I'm Red.
I'm BJ.
And we have the one and only Michaela Mouse Kovacs.
Yes, thank you for taking this interview with us.
Happy to be here. Thanks for asking me.
Yeah, for sure. You're our second interview of the day. So,
who was first?
Ray Bentley.
Oh.
Yeah. We went from interviewing my brothers to a couple of our friends to Ray Bentley.
To you.
So
we're getting better.
Yeah, slow progression.
we're getting the pro athletes involved.
I love it.
Okay, so first question. When did you first start playing soccer?
I first started playing soccer as soon as I could walk, to be honest. My mom signed me up for like the YMCA leagues and stuff like that. And so as soon as I could start, like when I came out of the womb, I wasn't walking. I was running. So she just decided to sign me up.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you kind of had it right away. That leads into our second question. Did you always love soccer, or did you have interest in other sports?
I always definitely loved soccer. I mean, I grew up playing pretty much any sport under the moon. My parents were really good about not really forcing me into one sport. Like, yes, I was very blessed and talented in soccer. However, they never stopped me from playing another sport. I played basketball, I ran track, I did volleyball, I did karate. I pretty much did a lot of sports when I was younger, but soccer was the one that I really just stuck loving the whole entire time. So definitely stuck with that sport.
Gotcha. Karate, better watch out. Don't get on our bad side.
Yeah. I don't think I remember anything from karate, if that makes you feel a little bit better, but
I'm pretty sure you could still probably beat us up.
Let's just not get to that point.
Yeah, we won't get to that point.
We'll stay peaceful. Okay, so this was Red's request. Can you name us all the teams that you've played for?
All the teams I've ever played for. After AYSO, I played for Rangers, which is a West Michigan club. And then I went over to Grand Rapids Crew, which is now Midwest United. And then after that, I played a lot of ODP, which is like an Olympic development program. It's like a soccer thing. Then I went to college and played at Michigan State University. Got invited into some national team camps, like youth national team camps for a little bit. And then in summertime, played for Grand Rapids FC, which is like our semi-professional team here in Grand Rapids. Which were pretty good. And then my last summer of college, I played in Detroit on a team called Motor City. And then right after college, I headed over to Australia and played on a team there. But however, I didn't get my international clearance in time before COVID hit. So I came back home. I never got to play a game with them, which kind of stunk because I lived there for about a month. And then was here through COVID, finally got another offer in August. So in August, I headed over to Portugal and played for Boa Vista FC. And then I just ended things with Boa Vista in end of December, and headed back home on New Year's Eve. And now I'm back here training for about 2 months before I head to Sweden.
Sweden?
So lots of teams.
All around the world.
I didn't know they had travel teams in college, huh?
So yeah, a lot of the times, like in college, in the summertime, a lot of college players play in these summer leagues. They're like semi-professional leagues, and it's literally just all pretty much collegiate players. Some older players that still want to play and just like want to continue working and also playing. So they do like the semi-professional leagues instead of trying to do professional leagues. So yeah, that is during the summertime. That's what a lot of college athletes do for soccer.
Did you have any other, like, what other schools were looking at you besides Michigan State, or was that just the one?
I had quite a few other Big Ten ones, some ACC. I never got into the SEC or like Pac-12 or anything like that. And then obviously some like smaller schools in Michigan, just like all the basics, like all the other schools in Michigan, because I was obviously a Michigan-grown kid. But with soccer, luckily they changed this now. But with soccer, they started recruiting girls when they're about like freshmen in high school, and you pretty much it was normal to commit either freshman year or sophomore year of high school. So I committed my summer of in between freshman and sophomore year. I think I committed to go play at Michigan State. So it's super early, but it was normal for soccer. But they just changed the rules, so they can't do that anymore. But it was just, I'm glad they changed the rules because it's just not ideal in a recruiting sense that you're recruiting like 15 to 16-year-old kids, for a college game. But
So was that like, like I played basketball, so like I have a little bit of experience in this. Was that kind of more like the big time recruits then that would sign early, and then maybe like the smaller schools they'd sign later as they got older?
Kinda. I would say it was actually pretty normal throughout most schools. I can only speak from my own experience. I mean, a lot of players I knew, even if they were going to smaller schools, still signed in their sophomore to junior year. I barely knew any players signing like end of their junior year, beginning of senior year. Like that was unheard of, which is I'm glad they changed it because it's bizarre. You shouldn't be committing for another like 4 years before you even go.
Right. Was there like a lot of late bloomers then? Like some people who got better like later in high school?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I definitely consider myself one of those people. I mean, I think obviously I was pretty good to be placed at Michigan State. I mean, it's a Big Ten school, great school. However, I think definitely looking back on it in my college or in my high school days, I definitely was a much stronger player. My junior and senior years of high school, like that's when I was starting to get called into national teams and stuff like that. Where my freshman year, I was just kind of just coming on to the scene and like the more so higher levels. So, yeah, it's a different game. I think the way they changed it made it a lot better for girls now because they were having those problems where like they'd recruit a girl that would be super good her freshman year of high school, and then they get into senior year of high school. It's 4 years down the road, and they'd be a totally different player or burned out or anything like that under the sun. So
interesting that you mentioned your freshman year because you were a freshman and we were seniors, and I remember going with like some of my friends, and they were like, "We have to go watch Mouse play." And like we would go to like East Kentwood and stuff, and we'd go and watch. And Kyle Walenta was always like, "Mouse, she's gonna be a professional."
I love Kyle. Kyle is great. I mean, high school was fun. We had a good time in high school. Unfortunately, my senior year of high school, obviously you guys were gone, but I had a season-ending injury, so I didn't get to play all my senior year. But it was a lot of fun.
We only had 8 games in our senior football season, not 9, so we didn't play our whole season.
That's true.
Why didn't you play your full season?
They didn't schedule us. We had a bye week.
Oh.
In high school.
Somehow lots of football controversy has come into this interview.
I'm still 60 minutes on it.
We're getting into the high school football like grand scheme. There's something going on there. You got robbed of a game.
I did.
What did you injure? What was your
my senior year of high school, I tore my MCL in my knee. Yeah.
Was that like a long rehab process then?
Actually not super long. It was only about 3 months. So I did it. I think like third game into preseason, we were playing Jenison. And and I got hit and tore it completely. Sat out the whole season. And then played in, I think, our very last district game is when I finally could play. Yeah, so it was like the whole high school season I was out, unfortunately, but not a super long recovery and no surgery, so it wasn't too bad.
Oh, that's good. Got you ready
Yeah.
for sport. So going down our list of questions here, what was it like going to Michigan State as a student athlete?
I mean, you're treated pretty much like royalty now, looking back at it, like being a professional athlete now and just having to go overseas and stuff like that. The way you're treated at Big Ten schools and even like big D1 schools, you are just spoiled beyond belief. There's just so much, the facilities are class, like top of the line. The resources you have is just you don't realize how good you have it until you're gone, or like you don't realize it. It's easier like if you're an outsider looking normal, or like this is not that great, blah blah blah. But now that I'm done with it and can be one of those outsiders looking in, I'm like, wow, you had it good. You had it good.
Yeah, for real. Was that challenging then to like have to go to school and play? I mean, obviously that's got to be a lot. Was that busy? Was that hard to kind of balance all that?
Oh yeah, it's very busy. I mean, like your class schedules would just be really ridiculous depending on like your practice schedule. Sometimes, I mean, I had a fairly difficult major. I was an animal science major, so like pre-vet, and a lot of my classes, not a ton of students took those courses, even though it was a big university. So there wasn't that much class availability. So whenever it came to scheduling my classes, it was really difficult to try and schedule it around practice times and lifts and all that. But I mean, I like to relate it to any other person that has a job while they're going to school. You know, anything's difficult. It takes time, but
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
What was your favorite part about living in Portugal?
Living in Portugal?
Yeah.
I really liked how you could walk everywhere. I didn't have a car there, and I was like 2 miles from the beach, 2 miles from like downtown area. I also really liked there. Everything was pretty cheap. It was nice. It was like you go to the grocery store, and I could get groceries for a whole week, and it'd only be like 30 euros. Where like here, it'd be like $100 something. It was crazy.
For sure.
Yeah, cost of living was nice.
You really spoke English over there, huh?
Yeah, so it was like it was crazy. So when I got there, my team, obviously being just coming from Australia, obviously everybody speaks English, and then in America, majority speak English, a lot of people. And then so when I went to Portugal, I was told by someone that a lot of people did speak English, but then I got to the team, and I'd only say about maybe half of the players spoke English. So half of the players, some spoke a little bit, some like only a few words, like hi and stuff like that. But you'd be surprised how easy it is just like communicating by body language and even like speaking and like just kind of inferring what someone's saying. It got better, but yeah, it was different. I had to learn some Portuguese, but don't ask me to speak any because it's poor. It's not great.
Yeah, you could fool us. We wouldn't really know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we'd think you'd translator.
No, it was probably only like a few sentences. The basics, like how to get coffee.
You like coffee then?
Yes, I didn't drink coffee in college, but then as soon as I graduated, I started drinking coffee. I wish I didn't, but it's so good. I can't stop.
It'll stunt your growth, Michaela.
I'm done growing now, so it's fine. You know.
Okay. Does height play a factor in soccer, really?
It does. So I play a center back as well as a defensive center mid. So I like a center back is like the central defensive player. So I would say behind being a goalkeeper, center back is one of the positions that normally taller players because you're supposed to be able to head the ball out and things like that. So it kind of plays a factor, but I would definitely not say as big as obviously basketball or like the size of football players, how that matters and stuff like that. Soccer is kind of nice in that aspect. That size doesn't matter much.
What's your height?
I'm like 5'5", 5'6".
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's solid.
Oh.
Solid.
Yeah.
So we kind of touched on this. When did you realize your dream of becoming a pro soccer was like kind of becoming a reality? Like you thought, okay,
This is actually happening.
I can do this.
You know what? It still doesn't feel like I'm playing it sometimes. So I don't even know if it really does feel like I'm a professional player yet. You know, but to say I am. It's just a weird process. It's a lot different than what it's perceived as. Obviously, everyone sees the good side of being a professional player, you know? They see all the fun things you get to do and playing the games and where you get to go and the facilities and stuff like that. But it's a lot different behind the scenes. But when it finally became a reality would probably just be this year. Would probably be in like August when I went to Portugal. Because when I was in Australia, I hadn't gotten a game yet. So it really didn't feel real.
Right. You're just kind of like a tourist at that.
Yeah, that's what I felt like. I was like, oh, that was a good vacation for a month.
Right.
Really liked it.
Yeah.
What do you think going to Sweden will be like?
I'm excited to go to Sweden. It's a country known for like their very good professionalism when it comes to the women's game. I'm super excited about the team I have going into the manager, the coach. They're all super professional. They really want what's best. And I mean, I think it's going to be a good exposure. I think our team has a great opportunity to be a really good team. So I think Sweden is the opportunity I've been most excited about out of the 3 opportunities I've had so far of Sweden, Portugal, and Australia. It's definitely the one I'm most it feels most promising.
That's awesome. Proud of you.
Yeah.
It's a good.
Thanks, Rick.
With her even more, but you can probably attest with playing sports how there's so much stuff that goes on behind the scenes, you know, the injuries and the time and everything that goes into it. That's a good point. So like, did you graduate from state and then you were like, okay, I might be able to play pro, or like when you were at state, were you like, okay, like, this could be, you know, like, this is a real possibility?
So even before state, when I was in high school, I was thinking about it as a real possibility, especially when I was getting invited into national team camps, like my senior year of high school. When I went into college, I went in, like, even when I was getting recruited, I'm like, this is what I want to do with my life. I want to go play professionally. Can you make that a reality? And the coaches at Michigan State were like, yes, of course. Obviously, easier said than done, especially with we didn't have the best seasons when I was at state. I had some rough times with injury as well while I played at MSU in pretty key years too. So I kind of lost it for a little bit. My freshman and sophomore year, I was really set on playing professionally. And then I'd say my junior and beginning of senior year, I kind of was like, you know what, it's not for me. I'm going to focus on school and stuff like that, which was just, looking back at it now, really shocking. Especially like the person I am, just shocking to be like, no, like maybe it's not for me. But luckily I got back into it, fell in love with it again. And really decided like this is right. Like that would be stupid to put in all of this work, all these so many years of work, as well as like how much I love to play it, to not do it. So it really, really, really felt like a reality because I lost it for a bit. It really felt like a reality this last season at MSU.
Yeah, definitely took some perseverance. It sounds like.
Yeah. College sports is a mind game. It really is. It's I mean, sports itself obviously are a mind game. You guys know that. You guys played sports. It's tough. It's tough to go in and out of like believing in yourself as well as like what people think of you and everything like that under the
Then you obviously have the system you're in, the coaches that you're in, and it's kind of got to come together. But
exactly.
So, did you have? You kind of talked about this. You went to Australia. So, like, did you have different contract offers, or was it just kind of like, oh, this Australian team wants him to do that, and then Portugal?
So at one point I did have an agent. When I left college, I hired an agent, and he was the one dealing with all the contracts and stuff like that, and like what would be best and things like that. Him and I didn't have the best relationship. We are no longer together, but
breakups.
yeah, that's it. Coming out of college, it wasn't like I wasn't like a top pick or anything like that. Coming off of my injuries and not necessarily having the best seasons, I wasn't blessed with just a bunch of options floating around. However, the ones I did have, I just took whichever one I thought would be the best steps towards what I wanted to do. And I'm going into my first professional season during COVID times wasn't the best best timing.
Yeah, that's gotta be.
It's an experience.
Another hurdle, huh?
It is an experience, but I'm thankful that I at least had any opportunity to go play anywhere. You know, a lot of people were robbed of that opportunity, even in college, of playing. You know, so
for sure. And just think about how much easier it'll be without COVID someday.
I know, exactly. That's what the optimistic part of it, Red. That's a good way of thinking.
It'll be over.
Yeah.
Someday.
Yeah. Yeah. Luckily, they've gotten it a little bit more figured out as far as as far as like the safety protocols and things like that to try and get like the professional sports at least being able to play and things like that. But, you know, it's just so in this career path, you really just have to be open to uncertainty because anything can change at anything. I mean, I feel like that's what 2020's taught everybody, that things can change so quickly.
For sure, absolutely.
Well, that's something we forget about too, probably, is like how popular soccer is in Europe. You know what I mean? Like America, it's, maybe like third or fourth most popular sport. Like, is there quite a few people at your games and stuff?
Because of the whole COVID thing, there's been no one at our games. No one's allowed to come to the games, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I would love to say I know what the European soccer experience is.
I know. I gotta stick to my page.
Come on, BJ!
Okay, but the interest is true. There is a lot of interest.
There is
a lot of interest.
There is. There's even opportunity in Europe. I mean, in the United States for the women, they only have the top league, and then underneath that is the summer league that I was talking about that all the college players play in and things like that. There's only the top league in the United States, but in Europe for women, there's all the top leagues in like the top countries, but they also have second divisions, third divisions where people can play, but they don't have that in the United States. So there's just a lot more. They put a lot more into the game, it feels like, or they have a lot more interest in it, like DJ said.
I remember hearing that about that. In America, there's really only a couple leagues where, like Akil was saying, where other countries they have a lot of other leagues. All right. So, what was the transition like from college to pro?
It's tough. No worries. It's definitely difficult. I mean, like I said before, you don't realize how spoiled you are while you're in college, especially like going overseas. I mean, in the women's game, even yeah, yeah, we'll flip flop. Sorry, I'm at the gym right now. But it's a transition. Obviously, I told you, like, you get spoiled a lot in college, and then you get out and see the real world. I mean, in the women's game, even the top leagues, I mean, the United States leagues, just it's a growing game, so there's still some investment. It's getting better and better every single year, and I've even seen it in the 1 year I've been professional, just how better it's gotten. However, if you're not in the top teams like Chelsea, Everton, I mean, even the United States, Portland Thorns, things like that, your facilities and stuff aren't going to be like these colleges. Like, you show any of the European players that were on my team pictures of our facilities, and they're like, why did you leave? Like, why can't you stay there forever? Because that's just, it's not the reality over there, you know?
For sure.
Even, yeah, it's the transition from like facilities and resources is definitely eye-awakening, but just even the lifestyle, I mean, you have a lot more free time as a professional, which is shocking, but like, you're only doing trainings and you're only doing lifting and stuff. You don't have school anymore. So it's pretty much like, choose what you want to do in that free time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say that's the hardest transition.
Well, we appreciate you coming on and taking a while.
Of course.
Yep. Very, very interesting stuff. Thank you.
And I'm sure we'll get back on sometime.
Yeah, no, feel free to contact me whenever. Hopefully, like, I'll have more exciting things going on after this whole next season goes down and stuff like that. And I hope everybody stays safe. And you guys, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
What's your mascot's name for the team you play for?
It's called Moron. But I don't think they have a mascot.
All right, well,
I don't think that's really a thing.
Oh, well, in America it is. So go Moron. And thank you for taking the time to interview.
Thanks, Mouse.
Of course. Bye.